Yeah. In Berlin yesterday, Kevin Gore is a singer.
Kevin?
Yeah, he's
Good friend of mine.
a friend of mine. And so he said, bring your fiddle along. And so I'm a Sassenach marching for Scottish independence.
Good. You're a brother in arms.
And it's a wonderful sight with the Scottish flag and the Brandenburg Gate.
It is, it is. I'm just a wee bit close to you there. Right, folks. As I say, apologies for the amateurish filming, but we learn with mistakes and I hope we learn well. What's your name again?
Robbie.
Robbie. Thanks very much, Robbie.
Thank you, sir.
And I'll see you at the other side.
You'll see me. See you on the other side.
I'm not getting any sound through this.
Als je vader meegebracht, wat een jesplaat. Ja, deze groot is.
Hello, ladies.
Hello, how are you, my favorite man in Kiev?
Thank you. Who have we here? We're live streaming back home. We're live streaming to Facebook and online. So,
I am online.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
I am Giada from Italy, and I am here for Scotland to say to everyone, Alba gu brat.
Sur Alba gu brat.
Sur Alba gu brat.
Thank you very much, Giada, and we'll hear from you at the end of the rally when you address the rally itself proper.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
And who have we here, sir? Huh? Who have we here? We're live streaming back home. Would you like to introduce yourself?
No.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. No, don't apologise.
It's a game, mate.
These guys are based in Berlin. From Scotland. This is the second independence rally they've had for the benefit of Scotland. What's yourself?
2017.
Yeah. And yourself, where are you from, sir?
Manchester.
Do you mind being live streamed? We're live streaming back
not at all.
home.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, what's your thoughts on what's happening in Westminster right at this point?
I don't know too much about it, but I know that the Scottish vote and their opinions right now are being heavily ignored. I've seen a lot of angry MPs, like Scottish MPs on footage. What seemed to see the day where what's happening in the current negotiations right now, the Scottish MPs were asking for a year ago. Again, I don't know too much about it. But no, I would support a second Scottish referendum if it actually left, since I can't imagine how many of those people who remained in the UK would vote to remain in the EU. I'd be very interested to see those numbers. So, yeah, it'd be sad to see the whole thing broken up. I'd like to see us in the EU. I'd like to see a lot of stay as we are, but yeah, you can't ask somebody to ignore their sovereignty, and especially when something as big as the EU membership has been stripped away from them. So, yeah, I say go for it. And I wish you all the best.
Thanks very much.
Okay, and hope it doesn't rain.
Thank you. And we have another paper here, sir. We're broadcasting back home on live stream Independence Live.
Okay.
So would you like to introduce yourself?
My name's Matthew McKelvey. I live in Leipzig. I've just come up today on the train to play pipes and support the march here.
Excellent.
Yeah. And yeah, what can you say? It seems the only way forward. Scotland's independence in Europe.
Yeah, and the symbolism of holding this rally here in Berlin is significant to the Scottish independence movement, is it not?
Well, I would think so. I mean, this is like the epicentre of the German, well, the country, really. I mean, you think this represents the absolute epicentre of Germany, really, the Brandenburger Tor, yeah? Symbolically. Germany is really the main country, the country that's holding Europe up, in my opinion. This is the backbone of Europe, so why not be in the epicentre of the backbone of Europe, having this rally today?
Excellent. It's
Matthew McKelvey.
Aye. Piper from
Leipzig, originally from Keith.
And originally from Keith. A well-travelled man.
A well-travelled man. Hi, how you doing?
No, man, nice to meet you.
No, Duncan. So am I. Well, I'm Duncan, or I'm known as Matthew McKelvey. We can try and see if they work.
God, there's a unicorn!
Yeah, can I forget the unicorn?
We're live streaming.
Excellent. Are we on Twitter Indie Live now?
We're on Indie Live right now. We're broadcasting back home, folks, on Indie Live. Independence Live.
No, it's so good that social media help us to contact.
Okay.
I know the tune. Believing. Yeah, no.
Hello, Kevin.
Yeah.
We're live streaming back home. We're live streaming back home. Folks, this is Kevin Gore, if you don't know him. And he's his good friend we spoke to earlier. We spoke to you earlier.
Yeah,
I'm hopeless with names.
Robbie.
Robbie Burns. I'll try and remind you through Burns.
And my coverage of that demonstration is Colin. Yeah. What did you do, boy?
Well, they operated my knee in the summer.
Hi folks, how you doing?
Good, yeah.
If you don't mind, we're live streaming back home.
Cool.
So would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Phil Fraser, one of you I can get you. We're from Munich today.
Here from Munich.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming.
You're welcome.
What's your thoughts on what's happening in Westminster right at this minute?
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yes.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Now's the time, guys. This is when we need to go for it.
Yeah.
You'll never get a better time than this.
Excellent.
Never, ever.
Excellent. Well, thanks for coming.
You're welcome.
And I hope you enjoy the day.
We will. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
How are you doing, sir? Are you local?
Local to where?
To here? Or have you come across?
Yeah, on holiday. Plus,
Excellent, excellent. Would you like to introduce yourself? We're live streaming back home.
Oh, yeah.
On Independence Live.
Yeah, well, I just came over both to go to this, and also I've got a football match tonight, Hertha Berlin.
Brilliant.
Plus, I just fancied seeing Berlin, so put them all together. That's all.
You've got the great package, the perfect package.
I've invested in a couple of flags.
Yeah.
Scotland and Europe. So
yeah.
And a couple of people have come up and talked to me already about that. Just the European flag, and said they were pleased to see that. One person from Schleswig-Holstein and a Spanish guy. So I think there's some interest in it.
Excellent. Excellent. And the importance of being here today symbolically.
Yeah, well, I don't know how much attention it will get, but I hope it gets some, just makes the point.
Yeah, that's it. Thanks very much.
Okay.
The Pipers are starting up again. Enjoy your day.
I'll try. As long as it doesn't rain too hard, it'll be fine.
Hello.
Hello.
We're broadcasting back to Scotland here on Independence Live. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Wilma MacDonald from Glasgow, here wonderful march. It's time as Scots rose up and said, out of the UK and in the EU.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you. Kevin, how are you?
Kevin is aus Edinburgh. Yeah. He was here in September as well.
Oh, yesterday was already.
Yes. Yeah, I have one.
Yeah?
Yeah, yeah. It's got a flag around the front gate.
How are you doing, sir?
Not bad, yourself.
Excellent, excellent. We're live streaming back to Scotland and around the world with Independence Live. Would you like to say a few words and introduce yourself?
My name is Bill from Kilmarnock.
Excellent.
So just came across for the gig. Obviously, I think it's kind of important that there's an international aspect to what we're doing.
Yep.
And I think it's really important that there's a show here today in terms of numbers, and it's looking really good.
Yeah.
So delighted to be here.
Well, thank you for your attendance, and we'll see you back in the home country.
Good stuff.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll take one as well if it's okay. Yeah? Sure.
You will have noticed, ladies and gents, I've got the May syndrome. I might not have my own voice, but I've got the voice of the country. I hope you're enjoying the broadcast. It's good to see you. I think we're going to kick off. Just let me see if I can find. All right, Kevin.
Hello,
broadcasting now.
Wunderschönen guten Morgen. Grüß euch, servus. Good morning, everybody.
I have to push something or it's already okay?
Welcome to our March for Scottish independence. My friends, we all know what's going on at Westminster at the minute. We see it in the news every day. We see Scotland's voice being ignored. We see the contempt in which our elected politicians are treated by the Tory government and by their lackeys, the fakers dozen. And we know that we're getting pulled out of the European Union against our will. Never before was it more important for Scotland to be an independent country. It's not just about Brexit. Well, the Tories are infighting, not quite sure what kind of backstop withdrawal agreement they want. They're also damaging the country with their austerity measures. People are dying because of the Tory government. And yet, Scotland is ignored. Your children, your grandchildren, will lose the right to come over here to Germany and live and work. Chance I had over 30 years ago. That is not right. And if you think back 30 years ago, we wouldn't be standing here, because this was behind the Berlin Wall. This was the death strip. If you were standing here, you wouldn't be standing for very long. You'd have a bullet in the back of your head sooner than you could say anything. So then what happened? In East Germany, in Leipzig, and other towns and cities across East Germany, people decided enough was enough. They got up out in the streets and they demonstrated for what they wanted. And sure enough, not long later, the Berlin Wall came down. That just shows what people of America can do. If we stand up for what we believe in, then we too can regain our independence, which, as I said, is what we need more than anything else. Join all these new independent countries, small independent countries, who after the fall of the Iron Curtain gained their independence. They didn't worry that they were too wee, too poor, too stupid. They didn't worry what currency they were going to use. They said, we want to decide our own future ourselves. So you have countries like Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Slovenia, Croatia, Slovakia, the Czech Republic, all countries about the same size as Scotland, if not smaller. Independent countries in the European Union who actually currently have more say over Scottish affairs than Scotland's own Parliament. That's the future we can have. That's the future that is in our hands. It's up to us to seize the day and gain our independence back from Westminster rule. So friends, we're going to march towards Alexanderplatz. We're going to have a stop in about 100 metres up the road outside the British Embassy, where we can maybe show our appreciation, maybe wake them up. Yeah, we were thinking what we could do to make you all feel at home when you're over here. Manky Jacobs, we thought we might fly him in, but they have strict hygiene laws in Germany, so that wasn't possible. So he's stuck with the wind and the clouds. So I hope you have a good day. Thank you all for coming. Enjoy.
You forgot one resentment. What do we want?
Independence!
What do we want?
Independence!
Thank you, Giada.
You're welcome.
Thank you. We're just about to set off on a rally through Berlin to Alexanderplatz. I believe Duncan and his colleague are going to lead us off.
So we're starting out.
Duncan. Oh, this is it.
Oh, not right.
Ladies and gents, my name is Pat Lee. I can only thank you very much for attending today. We are outside the British Embassy. And hopefully this will be the last year it will be called the British Embassy. The time is now for Scotland's independence. I'm going to make a wee apology here because I've got May syndrome. I may not have my own voice today, but I have the voice of the country. Scotland's independence is long overdue, and that flag there is not the flag of a nation. That is the flag of tyranny, of subjugation, and of absolute destruction around the world for hundreds and hundreds of years. And we intend to bring that flag down and replace it in Edinburgh with our own saltire forever. We'll get on with the rally now, and we'll see you at the end at Alexanderplatz, and we hope you enjoy your day. Thank you very much. Surrender! Goodbye!
When I wake up, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who wakes up next to you. When I go out, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you. If I get drunk, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who gets drunk next to you. And if I ever, yeah, I know I'm gonna be the man who's hanging around with you. But I wanna walk 500 miles and I wanna walk 500 more just to be the man who walks 1,000 miles to fall down that shore door. When I'm working, yes, I know I'm gonna be the man who's working hard for you. And when the money comes and all the work I can't do, I'll pass almost every penny on to you. When I come home, oh, I know I'm gonna be the man who comes back home with you. And if I go, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's going home with you. But I wanna walk 500 miles and I wanna walk 500 more just to be the man who walks 1,000 miles to fall down that shore door. When I'm lonely, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's lonely without you. When I'm dreaming, well, I know I'm gonna dream about the time when I'm with you. When I go out, well, I know I'm gonna be the man. But I won't walk 500 miles and I won't walk 500 more to be the man who walks 1,000 miles to fall down and shoot you.
Thanks. More to come.
You think the commissioner heard it?
I think it did. What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it?
Are you threatened by words from an empire of money and gold? Will you trade in your country's potential for the lies you've been sold? Are you scared that the walls are too high? Don't be afraid. Tell Westminster Tories that Scotland's no longer your slave. Carpe diem. Will you seize the day? Rip the chains from the unicorn. Show them that Scotland is brave. Did the TV man call you a nationalist for rejecting the lies? Are the words of the few worth the bomb? Cause they wear shirts and ties. When they tell you that Scotland's no great, how you really surprised? Will you stand and be counted for something that the money can't buy? Hope over fear, don't be afraid. Tell Westminster Tories that Scotland's no longer your slave. Carpe diem, will you seize the day? Rip the chains from the unicorn, show them that Scotland is brave. Nuclear weapons are dumped on the Clyde, fighting wars for the wealth of the few, and many have died. You can bury my bones, but the truth of it can't be denied. Will you stand and be counted, cause I'll be there stood by your side. Hope over fear, don't be afraid. Tell Westminster Tories that Scotland's no longer your slave. Carpe diem, will you seize the day? Rip the chains from the unicorn, show them that Scotland is free. Well, the media tell you that England don't want you to go, and the taxpayer funded MPs tell you just tell them no. No! But in Manchester, Nottingham, Sheffield, they already know that we're fighting for them, and it's only the start of the show. Hope over fear, don't be afraid. Tell Westminster Tories that Scotland's no longer your slave. Carpe diem, will you seize the day? Rip the chains from the unicorn, show them that Scotland is brave. Rip the chains from the unicorn, show them that Scotland is brave.
What do we want? When do we want it?
No.
What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it?
Rose of Scotland. Oh yeah, good to see you again. You got the fucking Jordan's way up.
Too many questions and too many answers to see.
What's my voice again?
She points your stories and lies to the BBC. I can see the road ahead, we're so close. We've traveled so far, this time everyone knows. We must say thanks to the ones who fought for this land. Freedom for me and you and Alex the man. So much has rise into the sky. See the passion for freedom in our eyes. We were lost in the lies. Scotland calls, so watch us rise. Stand in the square, show us you care, fly your flags. And if you're noble to join us, you won't be the last. Forget the old days, we won't bow down to the man. Scotland's nation will rise by the work of our hands. Scotland's nation will rise by the work of our hands. So watch us rise into the sky. See the passion for freedom in our eyes. Stand in the flame of freedom. Let everyone have their say. Nothing's gonna stop us. Liberty is on the way. Summer's on the rising. Justice is on the way. Everything all around me is waking to a brand new day. Be free.
Independence!
When do you want?
No!
When do you want it?
What do you want?
Independence!
When do you want it?
No!
What do you want?
Independence!
When do you want it?
No!
What do you want?
Independence!
When do you want it?
No!
And the movement, I've got it in my head. And then I can start with the notes.
And you hear whispers blowing through the trees, skimming crystal water, they pass through tiny reeds, tap on open windows as they move through the drum, and they full of melody and burst into the song. Can you hear them? Can you hear them? Can you hear them sing? Can you hear them? Can you hear them? Can you hear them sing? They're singing, oh.
She's like, I'm off what the sick. Hope that doesn't go on the news.
It's live stream.
First I saw the hooded man on the burning crosses. I was a boy back then. The white supremacists, they terrorized me. Hung my fire from yes, took the violence, lived by the soul. Was my way till I found my soul. Malcolm X, Jerome Wall, freedom fighter Nelson Mandela, William Wallace, James Connolly, our rebels and justice. They will always beat me. First they trespassed upon my land. My defense took a stance. Placed my people in the reservation. Suffered death and disease. Freedom fighter Nelson Mandela, William Wallace, James Connolly, and the rebels and justice. They will always be me. I'm a freedom fighter. Yes, I drove from my land the unjust ways of their kings. Along Shanxi Center, vengeful force, 10 times our numbers and heavy horse. On Sterling Bridge we rented lead as the river ran red with the blood of men. Malcolm X, Geronimo, freedom fighter, Nelson Mandela, William Wallace, James Connolly, and wherever there's injustice, there will always be me. With my comrades out of bail, I was executed in Carrick and jail. But a martyr I became. I lit the fire, I fueled the flame. For a people's struggle for liberation. Freed our country from foreign occupation. Malcolm X, Geronimo, freedom fighter, Nelson Mandela, William Wallace, James Connolly, and wherever there's injustice, Malcolm X, Geronimo. That's a lot of fat, but I'm a shade of hair. Nelson Mandela, William Wallace, James Connolly, and wherever there's injustice, there will always be. You will always find me. You will always have me.
What do we want? Independence! When do we want it? No! What do we want? Independence! When do we want it? No! What do we want? Independence! When do we want it? No!
I was standing on the street today with my ears back on. A stranger he approached me to tell me I was wrong. He said I was a dreamer. Well, I let him have his say. I said, yes, my friend, I'm dreaming of an Independence Day. And when that day comes around, 'cause call me will folks sure, we will have a country where all can be assured. A nation of equality, fairness and respect. The government we vote for, that's the government we get on Independence Day. Independence Day. Yes, my friend, I'm dreaming of an Independence Day.
We'll colonise it on. No, thanks for coming. Wish I was with you. Thanks, Colin.
Break the chains and free themselves from the traps of poverty. Independence Day. Independence Day. Yes, my friend, I'm dreaming of an Independence Day. Well, I know I am fortunate. I know well off I am compared to those in Syria or in Palestine. I'm just dreaming of a country that one day will be free to determine our own future and our people's destiny on Independence Day. Independence Day. Yes, my friend, I'm dreaming of an Independence Day. An Independence Day.
Ariel. Ariel. Can you get there?
Hiya, BBB!
Oh, hi. Okay. We're a drummer now. Aye, but wait, I'm playing my brains.
Youngs!
What do you want? Put the stand up.
Hi, the Vienno!
Drink here.
Yep. Right, folks, we're going to just have a wee interruption. We're still broadcasting. We're just going to set up the stand so that we can take in the whole rally now.
So do we.
So, hashin jirach an Alexanderplatz, waren bitog cash machancha, tachart gmatich, agus hat tortunya callings, tortunya kite. So we're just here in Alexanderplatz. We're just setting up, and I believe this is one of the main places for protests and rallies in Berlin. So stay with us, and we'll be having speeches and more music very shortly.
Everybody sing along with us now.
Yeah.
Hiya, baby.
So, friends, here we are on Alexanderplatz at the World Clock. One small organisational thing. Feel free to come close to the car, because especially when we get the music unplugged, you won't hear anything if you stay too far back. But basically stay in the general vicinity of the clock, please, because that's where the police have allowed us to stand. We don't want to cause any hassle by going too far afield. I've decided to stop the march here. We were going to go for 500 miles, but as you may have noticed, Marco and myself have a few mobility problems right now, so we decided we'll leave the 500 miles to other hardy souls who are marching down to Westminster as we speak, and of course who we also wish all the best to. We're going to have a wee bit of music. A man who I think needs no introduction, the one and only Mr. Kevin Gore with his mate Robbie Mr. Moon.
Come on a bit, because I've got up to try and sing over the window. Obviously there's no microphone for this karaoke fish. A song that I wrote back just after the 2014 referendum, a couple of days after. Tribute song to each and every one of the 45%. who had the wisdom, the courage, the foresight to vote for Scottish independence. We stand proud of conscience free and not yield to the project fear, the propaganda, the shameful lies, the mascot's lips, all in disguise, for social justice, prosperity, there is a country as kept up poverty. We stand together and united we rise. We are the 45. The torch is lit and never shall it die. Come join the 45. And it's a trident and the legal wars, the killing, the dying, all a rich man's cause. And into Westminster elitist rule, Etonian ways of the leader. So come join us, oh shoulders to the wheel. Strength and numbers, Scotland down. Good night, folks. We stand together and united we rise. We are the 45. Torch is lit, never shall it die. Join the 45. till the rocks they melt in the sun. Shall press on till the day is won. Till the locks they run dry, they will not heal till the rest. So come, join us, oh, shoot us to the world. Strength in numbers, Scotland shall prevail. Say, they are the 45. We stand together and united we rise. We are the 45. The torch is lit and never shall it die. Join the 45. Come join the 45. Join the 45. Join the 45. I think we're doing some songs at the end. We're going to do some speeches. There's a song I wrote about if you ever come to Edinburgh during the Fringe Festival. The places in Edinburgh, the bars are open to 4 in the morning. There's one that I found is up to 5, there's one up to 7 as well. Anyway, when I was woke up the same day after being at one of these all-night drinking sessions, when I woke up the same day in the late afternoon, I was convinced that I met Robert the Bruce on the way home. As you do. So anyway, I met Robert the Bruce. It took me all around Scotland on the back of his horse. He showed me all these places that he was really disappointed about. You couldn't understand why we weren't free after everything that people before had fought and died for. Anyway, we've got a chance to get it back again. It's called Be a Nation once again. I've got CDs with folks if anybody wants to purchase a CD. All these songs are on the CD. So me and Rod can go for a couple of drinks later. Woo! Last night as I staggered home from drinking on the town, sang a song of Scotland, the king who once was crowned. Then appeared before me the Bruce upon his steed, with the lion rampant, flag and shield of the country he once made. He pulled me up behind him onto his horse's back, and we made our way to Holyrood, down the mile into the park. We stopped outside a parliament of a northern British state, with token gesture colours and the scraps from a London plate. So we galloped on through the mist, up into the clouds, to the towns and the cities where poverty abounds. Good banks for the working poor, disabled and the sick, an inconvenient truth, the Tory and the rich. That's not why everybody said, it's not why Wallace played. Condemn this
lifeblood was not shed, have fought and died for liberty, don't let it be in vain. Rise up, stand up, get off your knees, be a nation once again. To Argyle and Gibbs, we made our way to the peace camp of Farsley. For nuclear disarmament, we protest and campaign. All the misery of caused by London Road. 200 million violence, renewal, then on to the Highlands, where tens of thousands died. Servitude and slavery, colonies far and wide. A quarter of a million souls cleared from ancestral homes in a land the aristocrats, the anarchy. We returned to the capital of this northern British state. They drove me at my tenement down by the cannon gate. I awoke in the afternoon and wonder I could see is lying rampant flag and shield, placed their necks. That's not why we fought, he said, it's not why Wallace played. The bow and base subservience, thy blood was not shed. They fought and died for liberty, don't let it be in vain. Rise up, stand up, get off your knees. Your nation once again. Rise up, stand up, off your Be a nation once again.
Brilliant. Kevin Gore and Mr. Moon, thank you very much indeed. So we're going to have a couple of speeches now, and I can tell you now that after the first few speeches we're going to try something very special. I don't think it's ever been done before, certainly not here in the middle of Berlin on Alexanderplatz. We're going to try and do a strip the willow. So, hope you're all up for that. But first of all, I'd like to join me please in welcoming our first speaker, Giada Mazzetti. Giada, she studied sociology and she has loved Scotland for many a year, just like all the rest of us. And she founded the group Italians for Scottish Independence in 2016 and is here to give us a few words of encouragement. Giada.
Hello to everyone. I'm Giada from Italy, and I am the Italians for Scottish Independence Group admin and creator. Thank you for inviting me to this march today. And I'm very glad to be here with you, our German friends, and with Scotland supporters from other nations. I think the international support for Scotland's independence is now very important, and I know that it is very appreciated by Scottish people. No other moment in history is so positive for Scotland to seek and obtain independence. I am first of all a lover of Scotland, and my love for Scotland is the reason I am here today. I have a dream to see with my eyes before I leave this planet, a Scottish Independence Day, and I hope this day will come with 2019, or at latest with 2020, or as soon as possible. In the meanwhile, I will do whatever I can to accelerate the dissolution of the Union with England. The word union has hidden an abuse of power by England that always treated Scotland like a colony, without the due respect, shadowing her uniqueness. Scotland and England have been in the Union for 3,012 years. Westminster has had full control of Scotland's economy for 219 of those years. When Scotland was given her own parliament 20 years ago, it was given 6% devolved power, and numerous years later, in 2017, this increased to only 15%. The 2014 Scottish independence referendum failed partly for the reason that Scotland wanted to remain in the European community. And now England is imposing Brexit on Scotland against Scotland's will, while the 68% of Scottish voted to remain in EU community. This is not a union. This is a dictatorship, a forced supremacy of England over Scotland, and now it's the time to stop it. Everyone who had the pleasure to visit Scotland and to meet the Scottish people perfectly knows that there are big differences between England and Scotland. Differences in mentalities, in beauty, in life's approach to others. Some numbers can explain it better. While the UK has the second highest childcare cost in the world, Scotland provides free university tuition since 2007, and it's supporting childcare costs also with the Baby Box Last initiative. While the UK has the most expensive energy cost in Europe, Scotland has 50% of renewable electricity and carbon emission down 40%. While house building in the UK is lowest since 1923, Scotland built over 30,000 affordable social houses and refurbished or rebuilt over 600 schools. While crime in England and Wales is rising, in Scotland crime is the lowest in 42 years. And these are only few examples. I want to see Scotland shine, and shine in the European community. There's a famous Scottish song that sings, "If I would become a stranger, I would be more than sad." And I don't want to be a stranger in Scotland, because I want to visit it as a part of the EU. I want to live in an independent Scotland, and I want to feel free to make Scotland my home. There is a quote that says, "You can take the girl out of Scotland, but you cannot take Scotland out of the girl." It's so important that Scotland be part of the European community and no longer part of the UK. Scotland is the most beautiful place on earth. No country can match her amazing landscapes, where nature reigns supreme and fills the human heart with a deep sense of beauty. The silence and the peace of her untouched countryside, her amazing wildlife, the mysterious glens, the infinite horizons and colors of her skies, the magnificent hills, lochs, castles, villages and cities, where the time seems to be stopped long ago, The endless beaches and the jarring voices and the broad flight of thousands of seabirds, all these inspire me to scream, independence, independence now.
Thank you, Giada. So, the next speech is going to be from Raymond Dijkstra. Now, those of you who know Raymond, he founded the group Netherlands for the Scottish Independence and has already organised 2 demonstrations in The Hague. We'll also be organising another demonstration in The Hague this year on the 25th of May. You might also know him from the People's International Chat Show every Wednesday night on the People's Doorstep Referendum Facebook page and also on Indie Live Radio. Raymond unfortunately couldn't be with us today, so he's sent us a speech for me to read. I can't do the Dutch accent, I hope you'll excuse that. So this is from Raymond. Dear friends and fellow freedom fighters, I regret not being able to be there with you for the 2nd March and Rally for Scottish Independence in Berlin. It was truly an honour to have been able to speak at the first one, that I am so sorry that I can't be there now. Because now, more than ever, we need to show support to our brothers and sisters in Scotland. If ever there was a time that it was more apparent that Scotland not only deserves its independence from the Tory oppression that is Westminster, but also that it cannot be more apparent that Westminster continues to belittle and thinks of the Scottish people in general as second class, it is now. No longer should all the revenues from all aspects of Scottish produce, be it agricultural, tourist sector, oil and renewable energy, whisky and everything else, go down to Westminster, just for them to only give back an allowance to the people they stole the rest from since the Act of Union. It's time to take all that belongs to Scotland and have it stay in Scotland. Let me give you a few examples. Oil from Scottish waters is loaded straight into ships and moved down south. Theft. Whisky is brought down south and exported, and the revenue goes straight to Westminster as being a British export. Theft. It has never been an issue at all whether or not Scotland could ever make it on its own financially. It has always been about Westminster being scared out of the evil Tory minds that they would go bankrupt if Scotland left the Union. And mainstream media has always played a major part in the scaremongering about Scottish independence. And one time it was apparent to me personally was when I did an interview for RT UK. Now, apparently, they are pro-Scottish independence. But when the interview was on, they used a lot of Union Jacks in the video. And when asked about the financial part of Scottish independence, first thing I said was, well, Scotland is the largest oil-producing country in Europe. They cut me off straight away. The interview was over. It just shows you again that mainstream media are all in the pocket of the Westminster establishment. I therefore ask everyone, do not take what you hear in mainstream media at face value. Always, if you're in doubt of something and you want to be more knowledgeable on a certain topic, please go online and find out for yourself. Westminster-funded media will never educate, but they will indoctrinate. Remember, a vote to remain secures your place in Europe? Well, where did that take everyone in Scotland? Just another lie by the Westminster establishment. I encourage everyone to open their eyes if you haven't already. And always remember that you, dear brothers and sisters in Scotland, are not alone in your fight. We, your European family, will fight alongside with you to reach the goal of Scottish independence. A goal we all know is coming. Scottish independence will arrive. There is only one thing that might stand in your way, and it is not Theresa May and her Tory band of misfits, it is the infighting amongst ourselves. I have never found a group of people that were more warm, helpful, open and friendly than the Scots and the Yes family in particular, of which I am honoured to be a small part of. Why is it then that we cannot seem to put some differences aside and just concentrate on the common goal, which is Scottish independence? Why is it that sometimes I hear someone say, I will never stop fighting for Scottish independence, but I will never share a platform with so-and-so? Like the dislike for a person outweighs the need for independence? In my opinion, this needs to stop. Scottish independence is what we all want, so please stop fighting amongst ourselves and get independence first. Once that has been achieved, you can vote for who you want, like or dislike who you want. As long as Scotland is independent, it does not matter. It is your right to do that. But as long as Scotland is under Westminster rule, we need all of the Yes family to stand together, shoulder to shoulder, side by side, to fight for the cause and the future of the greatest country in the world, Scotland. I want to thank Germans for Scottish Independence for the opportunity to speak to you all through this letter. I wish I could have been there in person, but I hope to see you all in The Hague in the Netherlands on May the 25th. Netherlands for Scottish Independence will hold their 3rd annual March and Rally for Scottish Independence, and we want to invite you all to come to The Hague and make it a day to remember there too. Have a great day, my brothers and sisters. Sur Alipa Kubra. Raymond Dijkstra, thank you very much. So, next speaker is going to be, again, somebody that many of you probably already know. Carrick.
Ariel
was originally born and brought up in Australia, but is one of the many returning members of Scotland's diaspora and a Gaelic artist, and she's got a few words for us as well. Ariel.
Vielen Dank. There are 2 marches taking place today, telling the tale of 2 nations moving apart. Today, Nigel Farage leads his Leave Means Leave march from Sunderland, Northern England, to arrive in Westminster on the 29th of March, with his Brexit betrayal band of believers behind him like some Pied Piper, leading lemmings straight off the cliff onto a gold-plated ship he won't share with the followers he'll definitely leave to drown. Aber wir sind heute in das Herz Europas gekommen, aus den Herzen zu sagen, nicht nur mit unseren Stimmen, sondern 5-mal mit den Stimmen einer Nation. Wir möchten bleiben. But we, born Scots, new Scots, returning diaspora Scots, continental friends of Scotland and more, have come to the very heart of Europe today to say from the heart, not just with our voices, but with the votes of a nation 5 times, we want to stay. Wir möchten bleiben. There can be no more potent picture of the divergent paths of the 2 largest nations of Britain today. The farce of Farage, who repeatedly comes to the continent to insult you, marches to Westminster to demand an exit from the EU on the 29th, regardless of consequences he can well afford, but most of his followers can't. They march because they think democracy has been denied to them. We march today because we know it has been denied to Scotland. The Leave believers call it the Brexit betrayal, but it is the no voters of Scotland in 2014 who have been most betrayed, led to believe in the benefits of a Britain its leaders seem determined to destroy. Scotland was told the broad shoulders of the UK would help it punch above its weight. But now, Scotland just gets punched in the face. Its trade and travel freedoms lying broken on the floor in a battle England won and Scotland lost. This was not the union we were sold. When Scotland voted no in 2014 to stay in the EU, when Scotland voted to remain in the EU in 2016, when Scotland elected a majority of MPs on an anti-Brexit manifesto in 2015, in 2017, When a majority of Scottish parliamentarians at Holyrood voted for a second EU referendum in 2018 and Scotland's votes and voices are still ignored, this is not the union we were sold. Westminster wants to give itself vote after vote after vote after option after option after option to change its mind on a Brexit deal barely changed at all after a matter of weeks or even days. Yet Scotland denies the people of Scotland the option of a referendum Holyrood has repeatedly earned a mandate for, to defend itself against a material change Scotland never voted for. Former German President Christian Wolff once said that the Berlin Wall worked against its own people. Many would say the same of Brexit and British politicians today, working particularly against Scotland, who has constantly strived to protect its economy and citizens, Scottish and EU alike, while Westminster works to protect the interests of billionaires who bankrolled Brexit in a campaign based on lies and negotiated on fantasies. Westminster's willingness to tear Scotland out of the EU against its repeatedly democratically expressed will is the clearest sign that the union with Britain will never work for the best interests of Scotland. Tory and Labour politicians can barely bring themselves to stop working against their own parties, never mind competently running another country they clearly don't care about and hold in barely concealed contempt. We are being driven in a chaotic clown car, determined to crash off a cliff with Scotland in the boot. Held hostage by Tories, Scotland hasn't voted into government since the 1950s. Scotland has played by the rules and sowed its hope in reaping the promise of democracy, that our actions, our votes and its principles mean something. Yet we find ourselves a prisoner of a process a resounding majority voted to avoid 5 times in Scotland, stripped of our European freedoms against our will. Our businesses, our industries, our economy endangered against our will. Our very ability to feed ourselves and our children endangered against our will. Scotland's nearest neighbour may not threaten us with barbed wire walls and guns, but the effect their choices will have on our economy and future is terrifyingly real. Václav Havel once spoke of living within a lie, which is exactly what those honeyed words of a precious union and a cherished equal member of a family of nations turned out to be. We no longer wish to be a nation living within a lie, in a union that claims to care for us, but constantly treats our leaders and all their contributions and compromises with contempt, forcing us into a future we repeatedly have voted to avoid. And that contempt Westminster has shown to our elected representatives. We've seen it beating sevenfold the backs of the disabled, people of colour, the poor and misfortuned, attested to by no less than the United Nations itself. We have seen the effects of that austerity by the number of their graves, the gravity of their suffering, and the growing numbers of food banks. Scotland's leaders were not elected to save us from this carelessness of Westminster, but to forge a better future. That is the day job. The Britain that demands Scotland be held hostage on a ship as it heads for the iceberg is not a union that's fit for our future. And I know people are genuinely concerned about the divisiveness of referendums, genuinely concerned about relationships with family, friends, partners, grandparents, children, and businesses, and valued clients. But here's the thing. The campaign to end slavery was divisive. The campaign to grant votes to women was divisive. Female protesters were literally beaten in the streets. But we have moved beyond those not so long ago disgraceful days because people voted. For once, we found ourselves on the right side of history. But we will no longer be on the right side of history if we stand by while a handful of DUP MPs can hold more sway over the future of Scotland than our own democratically elected parliament. We will no longer be on the right side of history if we stand by while the number of London MPs alone can always outvote all of Scotland's MPs from all parties. And we will no longer be on the right side of history if we stand by in silence. In 2014, many of us erred on the side of caution to stay in a union that has only rewarded us since with constant contempt. The debate is difficult. It will be divisive, but it is a discussion we need to have. The fact is, there is no end point of history or in the evolutions of nations any more than there is an end to births or an end to deaths. Nor has the process of nations following their paths out of Britain to independence, as have some 60 nations sought to before us, come to an end. In fact, there may be no other country on earth than Britain for which there is a greater number of precedents, of roadmaps and templates for a country to gain independence from. In a city whose evolution was an example to the world of peaceful transitions to freedom, we also come here knowing independence for us also means interdependence, not isolationism or imperial delusions. A UK government that speaks of enhanced lethality and increased mass is one that has learnt nothing and changed little from the long-gone days of colonialism, still seeking to stoke the embers of empire to fire up its future and rule the waves whilst waving the rules. It's true that Scotland also has its own shameful history via its role in the many wrongs of slavery and colonialism. But you will not find Scotland's current leadership like those of Westminster, whose poor excuses for foreign secretaries have disgraced themselves more times recently than Scots care to remember. But you can find them as they are, right now, representing a country that voted 5 times to stay with you, to stand with you, and do the hard, always evolving work of government and representing our fellow citizens, to work with you and create a better European Union for all. Also, let us be clear, we do not wish to build a wall of any sort with England. Cross-border friendship, diplomacy and trade will always be both welcome and necessary. But in a place once defined by a wall, whose removal gave hope to humanity and showed the world that walls, however hard, could be torn down for the right cause, we plead for no walls to Scotland's re-entry to the EU. So many in today's European Union felt the benefits that began when that wall was brought down, reuniting a nation and removing regimes that worked against their own people. So today, we ask you, please remember your past when you think of Scotland's future. Do garda agus ceol caracha celticha inéring le rodel chuinigi a winche na halaba. We did not vote for this. And today in Berlin, we ask for no barriers to block Scotland from coming back to you, helping our belief may become reality, that a nation of EU citizens for over 40 years that voted 5 times to remain with you will soon be back with you. Bitte unterstützen Sie Schottland auf einem Weg in die Unabhängigkeit und seinem erneuten Eintritt zurück in die Europäische Union. Danke.
Thank you very much, Ariel. That was brilliant. So, Steve, you want to come and teach us all how to strip the willow for those of us that don't already know? I won't be joining you this time. That might just be a wee bit too much. This is Steve. He's going to show you what to do. I think you've got some folk with you to demonstrate. And it's very easy, so don't be shy. Probably, as I say, the first time ever we've been doing Scottish dancing here on Alexanderplatz in Berlin.
What I'd like to do is to do a short dry run with some people who know what they're doing. We'll need a space here in the middle, and I'd like to have 4 couples. I know I've got 2 who know what they're doing at least. I'm sure there's a lot more. We can make a space in the middle here, the men on the right here, and on the left here, the ladies.
Where's the pipers?
What's his name?
There's some music to it.
No, they're just in it.
They're just demonstrating.
Yes.
So, that was very easy, I'm sure you all agree. Any more want to join in? Couples, if you join up in 4 couples per set.
Any more men? We need more men. Come on, men.
Men, don't be shy.
Men here, the ladies are right. Ladies are right, men here. Any more? We need more men. Come on, dancers.
Any more wanting to dance? Come on. You're making history here.
Don't join me in the other. Put them all in one go.
Okay, so we're going to make an extended set. It's okay. Steve, are you dancing? Do you want to talk through? Or? We'll just do it. We'll just do it. Okay, get the music. Well done, everybody. Thank you, Steve. Strip the Willow and Berlin, Alexanderplatz. You have been part of history, and we will all be part of history in the very near future when Scotland is an independent country again. And of course, it's not just in Scotland that people are doing their utmost to become an independent country. Our friends in Catalonia are struggling, some would say more than we are. In Catalonia, they have politicians imprisoned for merely holding a referendum. We saw the police violence back in October 2017. And so we'd like to show our solidarity with our Catalonian friends and welcome Ferran Cornella from Catalonia. He's lived in Berlin since 2005. He's involved in the LAG Internationals of the Die Linke party in Germany and is a supporter of the CUP. Ferran spoke a year and a half ago, very emotional speech. Some things have changed, some things haven't changed. Ferran, what have you got to say for us? Ferran Cornella.
So, dear friends from Scotland, thank you very much for your invitation. It's a big pleasure for me and for us to be today here on the street in the Scottish March for the Scottish independence. Thank you for your invitation. I will tell you why we give you support and why we are for the independence. For us, the independence is not about creating new borders. It has nothing to do with new borders. Borders are only built if there is the will to do them. Otherwise, they are not made. For us, that's why for us the independence has nothing at all to do with new borders, but it has to do with sovereignty. For us, independence is sovereignty for and control over the natural resource of our land. Independence is sovereignty of our economy. Independence is also sovereignty of the administration. If the administration is local, it's less bureaucratic and it is more efficient. And that's why it's better. And if we succeed to have more sovereignty, then we are building more democratic societies. And that's why we are fighting for, and that's why nobody should be afraid of more democracy, of making referendums, and to fight for more sovereignty, because we are creating more democratic societies doing this. And thank you. And this is why, for all these reasons, that we in Catalonia made our referendum in October 2017. Of course, it's a referendum which has nothing to do with the referendum that you, Scotland, had in 2014. They are two different cases, and it's very difficult to compare. You have a democratic history which is long, much longer than in Spain. And we knew that in Spain, with this constitution that we have, and which is a constitution which was born in the year 1978, after 40 years of dictatorship, of a fascist dictatorship, we knew that it would be for us completely impossible to do the same as you did in Scotland. That's why, for us, the only way possible was the disobedience. And that's why we made this choice. We made the referendum only with disobedience, and people in Catalonia decide to stop following the law and going to the streets, organizing a referendum, doing what they think was fair and was justice and was democratic. The result of this referendum, maybe you know, it was 47% participation and more than 90% of the votes for yes. As consequence, today the Catalan government is in jail or in exile. And some weeks ago, it began a trial against the Catalan government in jail. A trial which has nothing to do with democracy, a trial which we think is a trial against more than 2 million Catalans which participated in the referendum, a trial which is a trial against more than 2 million European citizens, a trial which is a fake and which is a shame, and a trial which is a trial against democracy. And that's why we claim to stop this fake trial, and we claim the freedom for our Catalan political prisoners and the political Catalans in exile. And the truth is, I must say, that with this situation, unfortunately, from the European Union, it comes only silence. I know that, and this is the reason why nowadays in our demonstrations, probably you would never see any European Union flag. And I know you have here a lot, and I can fully understand, because it's really very different. It's difficult to compare. There are two cases. We had also European Union flags before the referendum, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. But after the referendum, the truth is that the Catalan society is very disappointed. We don't hear nothing from this European Union, and we expect nothing anymore. And that's why I would like to give you a little advice. The independence of Scotland depends only on you. It does not depend on Theresa May, it does not depend on the European Union, it does not depend on the international community, it depends only on you. I'm afraid that the main priority right now of this European Union is unfortunately not Scotland, but is to stop the Brexit. And that's why the negotiations about the Brexit are being so hard. And I'm afraid that if the price for avoiding the Brexit is to selling and is betraying the interests of Scotland, unfortunately the European Union won't hesitate to do it, and will do the same that they did with Catalonia. That's why be very careful. The future of Scotland is in your hands. The future of Scotland is only in the hands of the Scottish citizen. Only you must decide about your future, and that's why I hope that very soon you make your referendum. I hope that you win this referendum. I hope that Scotland gets independent. And just to finish, thank you again for your invitation. Freedom for Scotland, freedom for Catalonia. Self-determination is a right and not a crime.
Thank you, Ferran. So, next speaker, you have already heard today, not speaking, he was on the pipes, And of course here also thank you Matthew McKelvey as well for your piping on our march. Duncan MacDonald is also piping, and Duncan's got a few words to say to us.
Right. Thanks. How are you at Carrick? Good afternoon, dear friends, here in Berlin. Now I'm up here for the second time, and we're all here for one thing, and that is for Scottish independence. Scotland's been robbed by the English for years. When you go back as far as Culloden, from the battlefield of Culloden, where the Highlanders fell under the mass of English soldiers. Now after that, they tried to turn Scotland into another part of England. What they do, the first European ethnic cleansing that's ever been registered was the Highland clearances. And that went on for 150 years, up until 1850. And it's not much difference today with the English government, which I call not Westminster, but waste monster. It's a waste monster. They're wasting money and they're wasting time. They're throwing billions out of the window. What about Northern Ireland, the DUP? They bought the DUP. £1 billion. What is that? Bribery. What is bribery? Corruption. What is corruption? You should all be locked up in jail. It's not another honest government at all, whatsoever. A prime minister who's a dictator. What does she do? The con woman. She's a con woman. The first, when she put up with the attorney, the deal, it was watered down, and they raised that in Parliament, and she's forced to print it, that all politicians could have it. Trying to con the government. They're trying to con the European Union. And trying, but not doing anything for Scotland. She's ignored Scotland. She's ignored Wales. Why are we being ignored? Too strong. We are. Scotland is strong. Nicola Sturgeon. She's miles in front of that woman that's down in London. Miles away in front of her. She should be the Prime Minister of Great Britain. And not the con woman who, when she talks, she's ignorant, she's arrogant, she talks with an evil tongue. She's not one friendly word at all. And the way she runs down Corvin, even although he's a wishy-washy, but we've got Ian Blackford there who tells that woman the truth. And every time it's Scottish independent, he brings it forward. What she did do, she stands up and she runs out of the Parliament. Is that a politician? Waste monster. Wasting everything. Her kindergarten, every day she's got to sort out the kindergarten that she's got there, 63 of them, and then we get the comedy show in the news or on Sky Channel. You don't watch BBC. Nobody should watch BBC, because it cut the Scottish National Party out. And any time Ian Blackford's got anything to say, the BBC, when it's on, no. Don't put him, don't let anybody see him. Don't let anybody hear him, because it's not good what he's saying. It is good. And he's speaking there for the good of Scotland and nothing else. And it's for everybody in Scotland. Scotland's an open country. We are not going to stop any refugees coming to Scotland. We're not going to put up big barriers as they do in England. But when you look at the English Parliament, how many of these people in that Parliament, politicians, are not original English? And these people, they're damaging the families of them and other people that want to come to England. England's not a good country to go to anymore. You've got your English nationals, your British nationals, Nigel Farage, as Ariel said, marching in England today. Scotland should march through Downing Street and rip it down, take it apart. Yeah, we've got the voice of Scotland's got to be heard, and it's got to be loud. We need another King Robert Bruce and another William Wallace to stand up in front. Nicola Sturgeon, she's brilliant. Brilliant as a politician. She's standing up. But there's some big, strong man got to get up in front of this yes campaign and push it right through for Scottish independence. Nicola, she's a politician. She's doing her day job. What's the one in London doing? No day job at all. She's running to Ireland, to Northern Ireland, to the EU, standing around and doing nothing. Now I'll tell you something from before Christmas with a deal. Theresa May, she went to Brussels. And she was told to go to Brussels by her kindergarten. When she arrived in Brussels, she came up against the 27. And they asked her, Mrs. May, what do you want? So that was Merkel, Angela Merkel that did that, the German Chancellor. She turned her back on her. And she asked her again, what do you want, Mrs. May? She didn't get an answer. And then somebody else spoke in the background and said, maybe Santa will bring you that for Christmas. And she still didn't answer. And then she goes back to England and tells she's been doing a deal. But she didn't do a deal at all. She did nothing. Nothing. And what is Westminster? What's the English Parliament? Nothing. They're nothing at all. Are the politicians? No. They're just like kids in a kindergarten, and the Tory party, they're afraid of having a people's vote because they know they're all going to lose their jobs. And the big money that they're cashing in on, that's not going to be there for them anymore. But then some other party will be there. But I hope it's not the man himself, the wishy-washy call. Ladies and gentlemen, I think you've heard enough today. And I'll make it short. And I'll say thank you very much. I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed playing the pipes, marching along with you, and having a wee talk with you too. All the best. God bless you. And I do hope we still stay and stand for our country. All of
Thank you, Duncan. So, we're going to have another song for Kevin Gore and Mr. Moon. We've got another couple of speeches and then another couple of songs, and hopefully the rain will stay off long enough, keeping our fingers crossed. Maybe it would have been better if Menke Jacob had been here extra. He might have got a wash for a change. Quick point for those of you that are hanging around afterwards. We're all going to head down to Das Gift in Neukölln for a few pints. So if you want to come and join us, feel free to. If you don't know how to get there, we can all go down there together. I don't really know how to get there, but I'll find my way. I've got a map on my phone. Sure.
If you're in Neukölln this evening, Kevin and myself and a fellow from Ireland, we're in Panierstrasse. There's a little bar called the Ether Bar, and we're playing there from 7 o'clock tonight. So if you want a bit of music and a bit of fiddle and so it's Ether Bar in Panierstrasse.
So that sounds good. The night has been sorted. You ready, Kevin? Okay. Come a wee bit closer because otherwise you're not able to hear him.
Come on, folks.
Don't be shy, he doesn't bite. And he shared this morning as well, he tells me.
Come, let people in, let them. Get them on camera, that's the most important people, not me. It's a and a song called Independence Day. So the chorus goes, Independence Day, Independence Day. Yes, my friend, I'm dreaming of an Independence Day. So let's all sing the chorus when it comes. Please give me a hand. Standing on the street today with my yes badge on. Stranger, he approached me to tell me I was wrong. Said I was a dreamer, well I let him have his say. Said yes my friend, I'm dreaming of Independence Day. And when that day comes around, coming will for sure. We will have a country where all can be assured. A nation of equality, fairness and respect. And the government we vote for is the government we get on. Independence Day, Independence Day. Yes, my friend, I'm dreaming of an Independence Day. Well, I'm no anti-English, I'm not an Irish or the Welsh. I'm just dreaming of a country that distributes its wealth. I'm proud that people have opportunity, break the chains and free themselves from the traps of poverty on an Independence Day. An Independence Day. Yes, my friend, I'm thinking of an Independence Day. And I know that I am fortunate, and I know where off I am compared to those in Syria or in the Palestine. I'm just dreaming of a country one day we'll be free to determine our own destiny. Independence Day, Independence Day. Yes, my friend, Independence Day. Today was still my yes badge on. A stranger he approached me to tell me I was wrong. Said I was a dreamer, or will I let him on to say? Said yes, my friend, I'm dreaming of Independence Day.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Mr. Ryan. So, Freunde, hier sind wir wieder in Berlin. Diesmal auf dem Alexanderplatz. Schottland, immer noch kein unabhängiges Land. Wir stehen hier am Alexanderplatz an der Weltzeituhr. Das kam in den 60er Jahren, sollte Internationalität zeigen. Sollte zeigen, dass in der ganzen Welt gibt es zwar ganz viele Zeitzonen, aber wir sind eine Welt. Und so war das auch 1989, kurz vor der Wende, dass hier über 100.000 Bürger sich versammelt haben und demonstriert haben für eine freie deutsche demokratische Republik, die es damals auch nicht gegeben hat. Circa 10 Tage später war die Mauer offen. Das zeigt immer, was passieren kann, wenn die Leute für das aufstehen, woran sie glauben. Und so ist es auch für uns in Schottland. 2014 ist uns allen gesagt worden, ihr müsst Teil von Großbritannien bleiben, um in der EU zu bleiben. Aha, was passiert jetzt? 62% haben dafür gestimmt, in der EU zu bleiben, aber Westminster sagt, Pech gehabt. Die schottische Regierung bietet Vorschläge an, wie man es vielleicht irgendwie trotzdem steuern kann, dass Schottland in der EU auf irgendeine Art und Weise bleibt. Was passiert? Diese Vorschläge werden schlichtweg ignoriert. Die werden einfach missachtet von einer Westminster-Regierung, die wirklich, wie wir schon ein paar Mal gehört haben heute, Schottland höchstens als Sparschwein sieht. Was zu melden haben sie nicht. Und so war das auch nach der Brexit-Referendum, dass Alan Smith damals im EU-Parlament aufgestanden ist und hat gesagt, Schottland hat euch nicht im Stich gelassen, bitte EU, lasst Schottland auch nicht im Stich. Und genau das werden wir auch nicht. Deswegen gibt es auch unter anderem Germans for Scottish Independence,
weil wir auch die Unabhängigkeit Schottlands begrüßen, befürworten und mit euch an eurer Seite stehen. Es wird ein unabhängiges Schottland geben, gar keine Frage. Und dieses unabhängige Schottland sollte auch wissen, dass in Europa auch ein Platz für Schottland ist, bleiben wird und immer da sein wird. Wir haben viel zu tun, wir haben viel Arbeit. Es liegt aber an uns alle, dass wir aktiv werden, dass wir für das aufstehen, woran wir glauben. Und irgendwann werden auch die Schotten weiterhin, oder wenn es wirklich ist, dann wieder Mitglied in der EU sein, sofern sie das so wollen. Weil das ist ja das Schöne in einem unabhängigen Land. Die Zukunft Schottlands innerhalb der EU, innerhalb von Europa, das entscheidet dann ein unabhängiges Schottland, das entscheiden die Schotten und diejenigen, die dort in Schottland leben. Nicht eine Westminster-Regierung, die in Schottland nicht gewählt wurde. Und Freunde, in Scotland, we stand beside you, we will walk with you. And so for our final speaker today, we'd like to welcome somebody again I think needs no introduction, former co-convener of Solidarity, long-time member of the independence movement, working for independence, we would say yesterday, for about 35 years at least, on the rest. Put your hands together please for Mr. Parsley. Give me a wee second. I've got my works in the phone. But as I said earlier, you'll see that I have the May syndrome. I may not have my own voice, but I've got the voice of the country. Colin, thank you very much, Marco. Germans for Independence. It's a massive honour to be invited to speak here today. Your invite allows those back home to realise we are not alone. We have your support and your solidarity to help us through this turmoil. I came here last night totally unprepared because of the mess that's coming out of Westminster. We are 2 weeks away from being pulled out of the EU against Scotland's will. Now, I have to be honest with you. I voted to leave the EU. As a socialist, I must stand against the exploitation of the masses for the benefit of the few. And I did not stand for the reasons promoted by Farage, the fake protagonist backed by Little Englander, xenophobic, bigoted and racist mentality of the political class and the biased British media, who have inflicted their bile on the nation, on our nation, on a daily basis, creating a hostile environment for those people who choose to make our beautiful country their home. I know the EU is not perfect. It's a club for corporate big business. Originally, it was a club to allow trading between nations. It's now morphed into something more sinister, with demands for promotion of the free market. There is no such thing as free market. Rules imposed are not the basis of freedoms. Monetary union, political union, and military union was not the idea of the EEC. But the result in the EU referendum in Scotland, that vote was unequivocal. Scotland wishes to remain 62% to 58%. I therefore must accept now is not the time to stand against the wishes of the nation, but now is most definitely the time to remove ourselves from the most unequal, uncaring, self-serving union on the planet. It is now 6 years
since the campaign to free Scotland, our nation, our independent nation, from the tyranny that is Westminster. Ladies and gentlemen, Scotland is an independent nation. It always has been, and it always will be. We are simply treated within a legal agreement for a united kingdom. So over the last 4 years, the Yes Movement have been advised to reframe the campaign as in turning our orations away from the negative. We used to announce we were too poor, and too stupid. These machines don't work very well, do they? We should now be changing our mantra to we are big enough, we are strong enough, and we are rich enough to be the nation that we always have been. I say we should reframe any future question put to the people also. Excuse the voice, please. As I said previously, Scotland is and always has been an independent nation. Our parliament was never dissolved. It was only ever put into abeyance, and in 1999 it was reconvened. Westminster may believe us to be subservient, but when we get the next campaign going for freedom, the SNP, the political will of the movement, now need to act. We have thousands dying and suffering directly connected to the cruel and callous imposition of austerity. We have simply had enough. As David Davis, the former incompetent Brexit minister, advised us on Sunday, there is no treaty in the world that I know of where a sovereign union joins and can only leave when the other side agree. That, baby boy, is a universal statement. You and your parliament reinforced this statement when you approved the Code of Rights. For folk who may not know what this is, in law and in the Declaration of Arbroath, we, the people, have the right to install the government of our choice. And we need to do it soon. We have too many dying, too many suffering, and our nation has been robbed on a daily basis. But I've got to tell you, a mandate does not last. It doesn't have an infinite shelf life. It must be used. There is no guarantee in 2021, 2022 that a majority for independence will be elected back to Parliament. I hope there would be, but we can make sure it doesn't need to happen. We can remove the influence of Westminster ourselves. It's time to start the firing gun, because time has run out for Westminster. We start from a position unheard of in past decades, 45% plus. In 2013 we started with less than 30%. I tell you, the Europeans who voted to remain based on the promise and the vow that that was the only way to maintain their status and maintain their presence in the EU, will have changed their mind. The floating voter, the floating no voter, who changed their minds on the vow, well, they amount to at least 20%. 200,000 Europeans, 200,000 no voters, we have the majority we require. ourselves. We spoke earlier, you'll have heard of the People's Doorstep referendum. Why don't we, as individuals, give the government the absolute majority? Do it ourselves. DIY. The National promotes it. We promote it. We can work together, provide the actual evidence and hand it to the government, and the government has the means to extract us from this cruel and callous union. I'm not going to say much more, but I want to thank you all once again for coming all the way to Berlin, the heart of Europe. Some say the heart of the European Parliament. The influence is certainly there. And we call on the European Union to support us, to support our Catalan friends. Get out. We are political prisoners in European soil. It needs to stop. Let's show them by gathering Scottish independence and bringing us away from this union, so-called union, and freeing our country. Thank you, everyone. Thanks very much for standing and listening to me in this room. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Just goes to show that when you've lost your voice, you can talk sense, you don't have to talk pish like Theresa May. So, we got the Scottish weather at last. We're going to close up very shortly to get somewhere warm. I'm thirsty, I don't know about the rest of you.
Very, very good speech.
So, obviously, thank you to everybody who came today. Thank you to the speakers. Thank you to the musicians. Thank you, Austria friends, back at Independence Live for hosting the stream of the event. Thank you all of you on Independence Live who have been watching. Wir bedanken uns auch bei der Berliner Polizei für die freundliche Unterstützung. Vielen Dank. Thank you to the police. And I have been asked to remind you that when you're leaving Alexanderplatz under German law, please roll up your flags because the demonstration is then finished, so you're not allowed to wave your flags when you're going home. German law.
Thank you for organising.
You're very welcome. I think you are, yes. So, we're going to close out with some pipe music all the way to do it. Go on, danke Matthew. Let's hear yous. So, that was it. Thank you everybody for coming. See you next time, and hopefully next time it won't be a demonstration for Scottish independence. Next time we will be celebrating Scottish independence and showing Scotland's place at the heart of Europe. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, people. See you next time. Duncan wants to say one thing that he forgot in his speech.
It's been spoken about Nigel Farage with this mad march that he's doing today in England. Do you know what? Nigel Farage has got a German passport, and all his family have got German passports too, and that's a big British Englishman.
So, that was that for this year, everybody. Hiermit erkläre ich die Veranstaltung für beendet.
Thank you very much, ladies and gents. I hope you've enjoyed the live stream. I know it's not been up to the usual standards of Independence Live, but we will get there with practice. Hope you've enjoyed it. Sir Alba Gabra.